Mia and Lynn, the president spoke first about winter storm recovery efforts, telling Texas, "We are with you." He also talked about FEMA supplying generators to both hospitals and nursing homes. And then he mentioned the EPA supplying drinking water testing labs across the state of Texas in an effort to get clean water back up and running to residents in the Lone Star State. He also mentioned the disaster declaration he signed to get FEMA money flowing. He stressed his visit was not about Democrats or Republicans, but about uniting during a crisis. Take a listen to what he had to say.
Our prayers are with you in this aftermath of this winter storm. We will be true partners to help you recover and rebuild from the storms and this pandemic and the economic crisis. We're in for the long haul.
The second half of President Biden's speech focused on vaccines. He says his administration is working to increase the number of vaccinators and turn more churches and stadiums like NRG here into vaccine sites across the country. We just spoke a few minutes ago to Mayor Sylvester Turner, who told us he asked President Biden directly to make sure there's no delay in getting FEMA money to Houstonians who need it to make repairs to their homes after the winter storm. We also asked the mayor what he gave the president as a hospitality gift today, and in true Houston fashion, Mayor Turner said he gave the First Lady a vest and the president a belt buckle, a true token of Texas. Lynn and Mia, back to you.